Yo, what's up? It's Thug Booty here. Welcome to my video series where I take different aspects of an MMO and put my 2 cents in. To start this off, I want to talk about Activision Blizzard's newest World of Warcraft expansion, Dragonflight. Before I start this review, I do want to state my bias towards this franchise and the developer. Blizzard has consistently got me to play their game with every new expansion release. There's a little whisper in my ear of promises of grand adventures and a return to form. Every time I found myself quitting within 2 to 3 weeks of release after blatantly terrible game design decisions that spit in the end user's face time and time again. I came into Dragonflight with very low expectations, saying, we've heard it all before, so always empty promises or doublespeak. That being said, Blizzard really knocked this expansion out of the park compared to so many of its predecessors. Blizzard has done a lot to keep me engaged and has done a complete 180 on their retail design. I haven't enjoyed World of Warcraft at this level since Warlords of Draenor. No, seriously, I love that expansion. I do want to praise this game as much as I can, but I am going to be critical where I find it fall short. Okay, now that that's out of the way, the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is the whole purpose of this video and the main reason that I came back to World of Warcraft to begin with, and that's the PvP. More specifically, some of these new additions like Solo Shuffle. After playing so many Solo Shuffle games as both a healer and a DPS, it makes you wonder why it's taken so long for a solo queue feature like this to make it into the game. The premise is simple. You enter the arena with 4 DPS and 2 healers. Each side comprises of a random ordering of 2 DPS to a healer. Then over the course of 6 rounds, you play with every possible combination of players. This removes a lot of the RNG blame game. It's not me, it's them. My team always sucks. In Solo Shuffle, you are the determining factor of whether you are winning your rounds consistently or not, as everyone has a chance to play on the same combinations of every team composition in the match. Another feature that I really enjoy is the dampening feature of Solo Shuffle. It starts high, stacks fast, especially compared to other arena game types, and makes every round frantic, fast-paced, and for healers, stressful. On release, there are some glaring problems with Solo Shuffle, the most egregious being that if someone left in the middle of the match, no one received their points, and the leaver only lost rating, but not their matchmaking rating, which some would argue is more important, meaning he could continue to push in a higher elo. That led to a lot of leavers. Win 5 rounds, get really excited because you are going to walk away with a big 0 rating.
We're trying to not die right now. Shiv, chasing him. Oh, beautiful, beautiful, man. Five round win? Stop the cap, bro. 5 round win. I'm about to go for 6, man. It's a touchdown. Are you serious? Oh my, these motherfuckers, they left the game? You slimy.
I've been in a few matches where I lost nearly every round due to my healer getting dominated by the other healer. And when I swapped to the other healer, out of fear of the other guy leaving, he purposely threw 2 rounds by not healing anyone, only to win the last round with ease. Blizzard has since fixed this issue, making it round-to-round rating gains versus match-to-match. Now the second issue with Solo Shuffle is, where are all the healers? There's a noticeable difference in DPS to healer ratio. Of course DPS will be the more popular class. Who doesn't want to drag their knuckles across the floor, beating their chest like a caveman, and hitting all the things really hard? That's always fun. It really is. What isn't fun is waiting 20 minutes to an hour for a healer to show up in a queue so you can finally hit things. In previous expansions, I've never seen such a lack of healers as I have here. It would seem only the positive to playing a healer in this expansion is the 1 second queues you'll get as you make one group of DPS very happy to finally be able to play a match. So I definitely think my cat's peeing and she's staring at me while she pees. Super awkward. There you go. Here's a possible fix. And this is just, I'm spitballing it here, putting it out to the universe. Maybe they'll fix this. But a possible fix for the healer shortage is, I think it's time for Blizzard to update how healing classes work in the game, making them more impactful in more situations and having more options and tools available to healers. I look to one of World of Warcraft's competitors who made healing feel incredible. As someone who's put a lot of time into Final Fantasy XIV, I have way more fun playing as a white mage, or in Warcraft terminology, a priest, than any other class in the game. In that game, a healer's skill and viability for certain content comes down to more aspects of their gameplay than just, I keep people alive. A healer's DPS is oftentimes imperative to the success of the whole group. You end up finding yourself in this kind of waltz of weaving between damage abilities and healing, and it's done so incredibly well. Simply put, people like to DPS.
Yo, I'm trying Frost. You think it's good?
Ooh. Yeah, let me, I'll take care of this real quick, I guess.
Oh yeah, Frost is definitely the play. Look at that, I just one-shot that guy.
Oh, you one-shot him?
I think so. Oh my, look at my damage.
Dude.
I did nothing.
Overall, I love this game type. It has its ups and downs, and Blizzard is actively updating it for success. Definitely lowers the barrier for entry for competitive PvP and offers a way to judge how well you perform in being a difference maker in PvP. As I've been having a blast with Solo Shuffle, it's led me to the next experience, and that experience has been dead for many expansions, with Blizzard trying many times to revive it. Here's another aspect of the game that Blizzard seems to be making solid ground on, and it's the revitalization of world PvP. Being in war mode, you get access to things like inferious ores, plants, and animals, all of which give you materials to create PvP related equipment from various professions, which is a fairly solid reason to engage in the world of Dragonflight. However, I think the introduction of the weekly quest, Sparks of Life, rewarding you with tokens that can be used to purchase better gear than honor gear for both world PvP and instance PvP, coupled with PvP world quests that are in free-for-all zones where you and your party members face off against everyone else regardless of faction, is some of the most fun I've had in world PvP in almost 13 years, since Wrath of the Lich King. Getting a group of your friends together and smashing every player in sight in non-stop PvP action is fun, and it's something I honestly look forward to every week. The downside to this is that those zones poke a big hole, a big gaping hole into the two-faction party system. It's more fun when anyone can kill everyone rather than only flagging for one faction or the other. When you're leaving those free-for-all zones, It can be a pain trying to find players to engage with in the open world, especially if your faction dominates a particular server at a particular time. Maybe we'll see a merging of the two factions in the future, who knows? I think it would be good for the game overall and would fit the narrative, since nearly every expansion, the Horde and the Alliance come together to defeat the big bad. Like, at this point, why are we still warring?
The rest of the way.
What? It doesn't make sense narratively. As for the parts of the game that have been around for a long time, you know, the battlegrounds, the 2v2, the 3v3 arena, and the rated battlegrounds, not much is new. There hasn't been any new battlegrounds introduced. Arenas are largely the same. Rated battlegrounds are 10-player battlegrounds with rating associated to a win or a loss. They really have not touched this, and in a way I agree. Don't fix what's not broken. The game feels great to play. The classes feel awesome, and you get this power fantasy like you're an unstoppable war machine that's going to crush heads, explode magics on faces, or give everyone Ebola and rot teams away. That part does feel good. When everything works well, some of the matches are the most fun that I've ever had in World of Warcraft. However, I feel like many classes and the overall pacing of the game leans more on the gimmicky side of things, and a lot of classes feel completely overloaded and having very little in way of weaknesses that can be exploited. Looking at you, Death Knights.
And where the fuck are the DK nerfs? Where are the DK nerfs? They should have been top of the board. Nothing for DKs. DKs are fine, is what they said about DKs for right now. DKs, absolutely fine, perfectly balanced. We want them to run everybody over and be unkillable. That's our intended design. We want them to have 2 grips, a ranged silence, a ranged stun, a pet stun, 2 kicks. They have their kick, they have pet kick, they have an AoE blind, they have AMZ, AMS, rune warding, they have the Necropolis thing, they have Death Strike, they heal off of their Mortal Strike. We want that. That's good. They're immune to stuns, they're immune to fear, like, that's good. That's what we want. They can't be slowed. They have a 70% slow. That's the design that we're looking for. That's solid. Cool.
Many of the bursty classes feel like they have moments of zero counterplay. For example, a paladin pops wings, it lasts 20 seconds. The counter, 20 seconds of CC on the paladin to waste it, and pop defensive cooldowns to mitigate, oftentimes requiring overlapping defensives. If you're not seeing the problem here, I'll explain it. Not many teams have 20 seconds of CC or defensive CDs that mitigate enough to be survivable. And even if you CC them for 18 seconds, I've seen players get hit by a paladin for 55% of their health in a single global.
Will I die?
Then you have compositions that are being made famous by players like Sea-Doo, where the setup is grip everyone in the center with a Frost Death Knight, freeze them in place, have an evoker deep breath hit the whole team, and nearly one-shot everyone. Now, I'm completely okay with classes having the potential to nuke another player out of existence, as long as there's conditionals in place for the burst to happen, which allows for counterplay. Nothing's more infuriating than doing really well through a whole match, having all defenses available, and because an elemental shaman gets a random proc, deletes that person before they could even react to what's happening. Now, what I mean about conditionals is that there's a certain subset of things that the player must do for a certain ability to hit for a monster amount of damage. The other team should know it's coming and be able to try to either prevent it from happening, predict it, and take countermeasures, or simply get blown up. I look at a game like League of Legends, who has a very specific character that has a heavy burst button.
Welcome to the League of Legends Champion Spotlight, featuring Syndra.
the Dark Sovereign. Dark Sphere damages enemies in a small area and creates a dark sphere that remains for a few seconds. Unleashed Power is Syndra's ultimate. Unleashed Power collects up all nearby dark spheres and fires them at target enemy champion, dealing damage with each one. While Syndra always has 3 dark spheres orbiting her, using Dark Sphere multiple times before using Unleashed Power will increase the damage output.
Syndra is renowned for deleting enemy DPS from the game with a press of a button. However, for her to get that kind of burst, she has to set up her energy balls beforehand. And you know it's coming. You see her dropping little black orbs everywhere, and you have 1000 health. If you walk in a range, she presses one button, you die. That's on you. That's justified burst. Oftentimes in WoW, I feel like healing through the amount damage classes are putting out is incredibly hard. Yes, I am not the best PvPer in the world, but I really do enjoy PvP when it works well. And I'm also not the biggest fan of 15-minute dampening heal battles, but when I do lose, I want to lose because we got outplayed, not because someone just happened to press Divine Storm and delete everyone on the team out of existence while a Pharaoh Form Druid is spreading unhealable damage. Before the expansion drop, Blizzard posted about the change in health. They want to increase the health of players so that they become harder to heal, so that they can design PvE encounters that aren't one trick, burst everyone to 1% because healers will top everyone off in a single global. They wanted to make the fights more engaging. That bleeds over to the PvP scene, where everyone is doing damage like a raid boss and the healing output isn't there to compensate. While the addition of While the addition of Solo Shuffle has lowered the barrier to entry for PvP in World of Warcraft, it hasn't lowered it enough. PvP, I'd argue, is some of the most fun that you can have in World of Warcraft. In the current iteration of PvP, it's a game about knowledge, understanding every class inside and out, understanding all the win conditions for that class, then incorporating other players' classes into the mix, how they synergize, what they are going to do, and the list goes on. On top of that, you only get rewarded when you're the best of the best, the top 1% of the 1%.
I'm the top 1/10 of 1%.
The peak performers, the big chest pounders. While that's an awesome feeling to have something that really no one else can get, that's asking a whole lot of investment on the player's part, and then it's asking for more. While you do get rewarded for investing some time into the game and getting a mount for trying a lot, that's not really something that feels earned. Everybody gets a trophy. I think a lot more players would get involved in PvP if Blizzard did something like other games do, with rewarding players with a mount for hitting gold rank, top 30% of the player base, something that actually is obtainable, and then each subsequent rank after that, a different skin of the same mount or recoloring representing your achievement. The learning curve could be easily alleviated if there was more clarity in the gameplay. I shouldn't have to download a million add-ons, cover my whole screen, and look at bars and icons to understand what's going on. I actually think that third-party add-ons should be banned from anything competitive, and it's on the developers that make the game more accessible through in-game sounds, movement, colors, and other various ways to provide more clarity in PvP. I also think that Blizzard needs to look at pruning every class in PvP and rework the whole system, which in turn lowers the barrier to entry. It's a lot easier to know 3 core abilities and 12 supporting situational abilities than to know 40 plus abilities for every class. Dragonflight brings more W's than it does L's when it comes to PvP. While there are a lot of areas to gripe on that don't feel fair or aren't made clear, it still remains one of the best aspects of World of Warcraft. The reiteration of world PvP through free-for-all world quest zones and the inclusion of a solo queue has elevated your options in PvP that hasn't really been seen in a really long time. At At times, the class balance feels gimmicky, and it feels bad when you can't do anything about it regardless of pressing every button on your keyboard, and it feels at its best when both teams don't have a gimmick to rely on. If you're interested in getting back into World of Warcraft for the PvP aspect, I do think you could find a lot to love here. But that comes with a caveat of one of the largest learning curves in gaming.
He just died. What just killed him? With what? He was 60% HP.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this video. This is the first video that I've ever made personally. I'm still relatively new to this, so hopefully I have more to come. Thank you so much. See ya.